Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Sara, and I work on the product ops team here at Uber Freight.
And what is product ops?
Yeah, so we're the team that is basically the liaison between the operation folks in Chicago and the people who are building the products here in San Francisco.
Okay.
And so we work on a daily basis with operations, and here operation hears from the drivers what they need out of a product, and then we take that information and digest it and make sure that information gets relayed to the product team, who is ultimately building the tools for the drivers and for the operational folks in Chicago.
I was watching you this morning.
You were watching me?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait.
You were standing out. I was sitting there
Oh, no.
in a chair, and Greg came over and sat, and I said, "Who is that young blonde lady right there?" He goes, "Well, that's Sara."
Was I loud?
No, well, you were louder, and that was actually a good thing, because I was pinpointing on you, and because I was listening to what you were saying to
Sure.
the gentleman two down from you.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that one. Of course, nobody can see me point like that, but I was pointing like, she's interested. And how long have you been with Uber?
Yeah, so I've been with Uber since actually November 15th of 2016. So I'm going on my 1 year here in about a month. So actually half a month now. So I worked in a brokerage prior to coming to Uber. I went on a small venture to help launch a brokerage, and then
there it is.
we joined the Uber Freight family in the mid-November. And so I've been with Uber Freight for pretty much a year now, and we've seen the tools go from development stage to a nice, robust platform for drivers, and we're really listening to the drivers and what the drivers want, which is something that is unique to, I feel is unique to Uber Freight. So
that's why you caught my attention. You have prior experience with drivers in the trucking industry.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked in sales and account management in the first brokerage that I worked for out of college for a few years. And then whenever I went and helped launch a brokerage, I did all the AP and AR. So I not only worked with the drivers, I also worked with the accounting folks at a lot of carriers, and even with owner ops, dealing with their day-to-day struggles of having to get paperwork together, and while they're also on the road trying to get unloaded. But I've also been, I've been talking to customers, I've been talking to drivers, I've been talking to dispatchers. So I would consider myself well-rounded in understanding the different pain points from the time you onboard a customer to the time a load gets delivered.
Okay. So, because you're like an old soul that they brought into this to bring experience.
A young soul.
Well,
I would like to think
you're grandfathered in there, young lady. So,
yeah.
So, who did you broker for?
Yeah.
Not familiar with them. Small, medium, large.
They were large. They got acquired by another larger brokerage. So.
Okay. They were absorbed into another one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So.
All right. So. That's a lot of information. Break it down to its simplest form, what you do.
What I do?
Simplest form.
Simplest form. I work with operations and drivers, and I find out what they want and what they need, and I make sure that information is relayed to the people who are building the technology.
Yep. And that's what I heard you doing this morning.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
its simplest form. You were telling
and that's
the
what I
gentleman.
love too. I think Charlie said, he's been growing through Uber and Uber Freight now, and I'm doing the same. So I was here, when Freight was sort of a new concept, and I was that person that Charlie was too, in the trenches, getting the loads, building the loads, listening to the drivers, helping the drivers through their first time with their logins. And I was primarily then working on account management and getting that team built out and understanding how Uber Freight is going to build an account management department that's different than all these other folks who are in the business. And then I evolved into now the product team, because I do have a passion for what the shippers want and what the drivers want and what the carriers want. And I think that's something that I didn't have that opportunity to do prior to coming to Uber. And so that's why I really like working here. So. And I know we talked about, where were you from prior? I actually was from small town Indiana. I grew up on the Indiana-Kentucky border. My dad loaded trucks in a warehouse. He still does today. So I've heard his side of you. I have family members who, actually I have sort of a long distance uncle who drives in Georgia. He's an owner op. So I come from a family that they're very absorbed in the business, and so it's exciting for me to come to a place like the Silicon Valley and make sure that what my family needs gets built. So I think that's one reason why I love my job and working here.
You're a legacy.
I'm a legacy.
That's always good to have. Legacies
my
are
dad,
always good.
My dad loads trucks every day, and he likes to give me market update conditions on the rest. So,
While you're over there in that fancy office building, young lady,
I have a good story. My dad actually still loads trucks, like I said, and I was working on a Saturday, and the customer that we were shipping for was going into my dad's facility that he was working on a Saturday because he had overtime. And I joked around. I called him right after. I was like, "Can you are you loading my truck? Can you get it loaded quicker?" But yeah, he was out there loading golf bags on the truck, and I don't know, inside joke.
Lineage in this place that I've found.
There is.
And that's always good. That's always good.
Yeah, I think the lineage kind of pushes towards a sense of compassion for the drivers and for these facilities. As you know, we're trying to implement technology into this space. We like to use, we have these stories, right, of our family members or our cousins or aunts or uncles, and we can make sure that those pain points are solved through that, that tribal knowledge and that lineage you were talking about. Yeah.